Hey, what's going on everybody? Alex here with Freedom Mowers. I hope you all are doing well. Today we are going to be working on a video that has been requested by a lot of people, and that is detailing the mowers to get them ready for sale. You guys are always asking me, how do I polish them? How do I clean them? You know, what do I do to make them look so good at the end of the videos? I've got a machine here in the shop that I'm actually filming a repair video on right now, and we're going to focus on this video of just being the cleaning and getting everything looking sharp. So I'm going to get this thing pulled outside, show you guys what we got, and we're going to get to work. All right, and this is what we are working with. We've got a T1000 Craftsman here. This thing is caked in dust. Engine itself is not too bad. I mean, it's just super dusty. You guys can see. Just giving you a whole overview of it. Plastics are all dried up on it. Kind of the usual that we go through. Some engines are greasier than others. Gas tank's pretty dirty on here. And the mowing deck, I was getting ready to start on that, but I wanted to film this video because you guys keep asking a lot about how I clean these up. Right, and I've got it over here where I normally pressure wash. Got a few things, I'll show you guys what I'm using. I just have some super heavy duty degreaser, which pretty sure I got that at Harbor Freight. I have it just mixed up in here, a little bit in here, mixed it with water. This is just a pressurized pump sprayer when you pump it up. I've got a wheel brush that I use, and I've got some car soap that I might use on here. I was actually washing the car the other day. And I got this electric pressure washer that I got from the dump. So basically what I'll do is I'm gonna go ahead and I'll get it first just pressure washed off, and then I will put some degreaser on, just lightly on some areas, scrub it all off. Then I'll re-pressure wash again, make sure I try to get in all the areas around the gas tank, behind the dash, all that stuff. I did put the mowing deck back on and pressure wash that earlier because I'm in the process of filming 2 videos, but you guys will get all the idea. So I'm gonna put you guys on time lapse. I'm gonna get this washed up, and then once I feel like we've got it clean enough, we'll bring it back over to the shop and I'll show you guys buffing it and getting these plastics and everything looking good. I am also gonna go ahead in the meantime and pull off the headlight covers. I might have to go get a screwdriver, maybe not. This one is actually already been off before because it's missing the insert like this one has in it. So I'll go ahead and I'll get that off. I'll probably take the insert out of that one because I don't have one for that, and it'll just make things, cleaning everything, a lot easier. So put you guys on the time lapse and you'll see me wash this up. Alright, got the initial pressure wash done. Got rid of most of all the heavy dirt on here. There's definitely still going to be some stuff on the gas tank that needs to be scrubbed, and go over the whole body on here because once this dries, it's still going to look dirty. So yeah, normally just get that done. Then I will take my pump sprayer, get this pumped up, and then just give it a light kind of hose down here, and then it's just going to be scrubbing it all down. Get the wheels. Trying to make sure I got this all on camera. I'm over here looking at the pump sprayer and you guys can't even see what I'm doing. But yeah, I just usually give this whole thing just a light mist of some degreaser, especially on the engine if it needs it. This one was fairly clean actually, so other than that, now I will just take my scrub brush over here, put a little bit on there, and then at this point I'm just going to go over the whole thing. As you can see, even after pressure washing it, there's all this, trying to get it in the right angle, but there's a lot of dirt that's coming off from here still. So I'm gonna go ahead and just get this all scrubbed down, and I'll show you guys once I've got the second pressure wash done on it, and then we'll bring it over to the shop, dry it, and start working on the buffing. All right, and I have had this sitting overnight to dry. Overall, the paint is still in pretty good shape. There are a couple of spots where there's some chips. I think that I'm gonna try to mix a couple spray paints together and do a little bit of touch up. I think there's maybe one other little spot. So the paint, like I said, is in fairly good shape, but it can definitely be buffed and look a little bit nicer. And there's some scratches up here on the top. We'll try to do our best to get everything looking good. You guys can see this plastic here is totally dried out, and this plastic down here doesn't look too bad, so we probably won't do a whole lot on there except for just wipe it down with some automatic transmission fluid. I'll show you guys that. That's basically about it. I will probably buff some of the mowing deck too, at least the parts that are exposed, and I'll show you guys everything along the way. I did go ahead and put a piece of tape here because I'm going to show you guys in this one area where I buff and how that turns out, and then we'll go ahead and do the whole machine. So let me get this pulled in and we'll start buffing, and I'll show you guys what I'm using. And you guys can see as well, now that we're inside, we get a little bit better light, but this is just a random orbital polisher that I've had for a long time, and I've just got some turtle wax rubbing compound. This is not a very aggressive pad, so it doesn't get a lot of scratches out, but it definitely shines it up. So I'll put you guys on the time lapse, show you guys just buffing out the one side here, and then see what it looks like afterwards, and we'll move on to the other stuff. All right, we just did a quick buff on this one side. We'll go ahead and wipe everything down with a nice clean microfiber. Usually this stuff comes off real easy as long as you don't let it sit on there too long. But that already made a nice difference in the shine on it. And I understand these are just lawnmowers. It's going to get dirty pretty quickly, but it will kind of help preserve the paint to last a little bit longer. And it just helps me with the resale as well. But now you guys can see the difference of that side versus this side. And we'll get a little bit farther away. Which you can see, I mean, you know, there's still a lot of scratches in there, but it definitely looks a lot better. Let's see from this angle. So before and then after. And that was just a, you know, a quick polish with a light pad. I mean, if you used a wool pad, I'm sure you could get a lot more of the scratches out, but I'm not going for perfection. We're just trying to make this look a little bit better. So at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and go over the whole machine. Sometimes it is hard to get in these footwells and stuff like that. You could just do it by hand. I'll get in there the best that I can and finish that up. And once I get this all the way polished, we will move on to these plastics, and I'll show you how I get that done. And I've gone ahead and got the rest of the mower buffed. It does look a lot better. This color in particular is a little hard to see the big difference in it, but overall it looks a lot better. We are going to go ahead and work on this upper plastic cover shroud. Now on this one, let me get y'all on the tripod here. Now on something like this, you could use just the automatic transmission fluid. You can use some plastic restore products. You can use a heat gun. I've gotten pretty good with using the torch. You have to be very careful. You can warp this. You can make it where you've got like stripes in it. You just have to be careful. I just start out low, and I'll show you guys basically how it works. I'm gonna start right here at this corner, and we'll work our way down. I just start to go until I see some color change, and then I just continue that basically like I'm coloring it in. but you want to keep your distance too, because you don't want to be melting any plastic. And I don't want to have streaks all in it either. I don't know, it's all about just trying out different things to see what works. Once this cools down, it'll get a little bit lighter in color. And I also don't want to hit this part with the torch just because it already has a nice black to it. But that's pretty much about it. I'm going to go ahead and just set you guys on the time lapse. I'm going to knock out the rest of this panel. Alright, and here is a little bit better view of it. It does have some shinier spots. That's just where the plastic got a little bit hotter. And this is what I'm talking about. It's a little tricky to do with the torch, and I don't want to distort the plastics and make it look all funky, so it might have went a little bit overboard on this particular piece with the torch. You know, my stuff's never perfect. Probably could have just used the heat gun. It would have been a little bit less aggressive. And yeah, so maybe we can try these panels right here. I'll show you guys. We can try these panels right here with a heat gun and see how this turns out, because it was basically the same plastic as that panel right there. So let me get the heat gun out and we'll try one of those out. So we'll go ahead, I'll show you guys how I do it on here. It's basically the same process, it just goes a lot slower, but you'll start to see the plastic change color. There we go, now it's starting to heat up. And you don't want to stay in one place too long. Alright, so now you can see it. Just got to go back and forth. Alright, so I'll let that sit for a minute. That looks a lot nicer though without the kind of tiger striped look we got here, and that's what I was talking about before. I had a little bit of breeze outside, so it was kind of flickering the flame, making it inconsistent for me to get that on. So that's just gonna be what it is. And I will go ahead and just do the rest of these, and I'll show y'all when they're done, and then we'll move on to wiping down the rest of the machine. Alright, and these panels are looking pretty good. Looks good on both sides. Show you guys now, I'm working on some touch-up paint, and I'll show you what I did. I don't have a color that's quite the same as this, but I do have I can't even remember what this color was. I think it's like a Ford gray or something like that. Some tractor paint, and then some semi-gloss black. And what I did is I sprayed it into this cap, and I mixed it up till I thought I had about the right color. And then I went ahead and just dabbed it on there with a brush, and you guys can see that's a pretty close color match. So basically I'll just dab this on now. And just let this fill in. I just wanted to get something to kind of make that look a little bit better. I'm sure you guys will say, well, you should have sandblasted the whole mower and, you know, put all kinds of rust preventative on it. But realistically, at the end of the day, somebody will probably beat this mower for a couple more years and throw it in the dump. So I am trying to make it look as good as I can for now and roll with it. So we'll let that dry, but you guys can see that touched up pretty nice. I've got one little spot there on the footwell and one little spot right up here. And I'll take a look around to see if there's any other spots, but that should turn out pretty nice. There is one over here by the cup holder as well. So I'll get all those touched up and we'll move on. And we are back outside again, making some headway on here. I have some semi-gloss black. I want to touch up some of the paint on the mower deck. I will get a few of the other spots, but I just wanted to show y'all here on the edge. It had a fair amount of some rust and some bubbling, so I just took a flathead and got most of the real heavy stuff off. And then I just took a piece of some 220, cleaned it up a little bit, got that wiped down, and I'm just gonna go ahead and touch that paint up. Do this while I'm holding the camera. Got a little breeze, so hopefully I can get this touched up without too much overspray. Just gonna hit it real light. I'll let that sit for a couple of minutes and then I'll go back over it again. All right, and that's really about it. I'm gonna let that sit for a few minutes and then I will go back over it again. And I'm gonna drop the deck down and hit a couple of these other spots as well. But really that's about all I do for the paint touch up. Sometimes there's little spots on the frame, or sometimes there's some spots here on the back. This one's in pretty good shape, but sometimes too, if it's just very light surface rust, I'll just use a Scotch-Brite just to kind of clean everything up and give the paint something to adhere to. And that's really about it. So I'm gonna let that dry. I'm gonna hit that. We'll finish up just the mowing deck and we are gonna get everything wiped down. We'll do the engine as well, and I think we'll basically be done on here. We'll get the shroud for the side discharge, and I think that this machine's gonna be in really good shape. All right, and the last thing that we're gonna be putting on here, I just have some automatic transmission fluid. This is what I use on all my plastics and everything. Just put it on a microfiber and basically just start to wipe. You guys can see, I'll just put some right here on this one side. Show y'all what it looks like. I mean, it's basically just like a thicker Armor All, but you can see a difference in just the drier plastics versus where this is at on here. We can put a little bit on the actual paint itself too. I'm trying to see if there's a spot that it'll show up. It's hard to see out here, but you can wipe it on the paint as well. But basically everything that's plastic on here, I'm gonna go ahead and get wiped down, and then I will show y'all when I'm done with it. Everybody thinks I've got some crazy magician tricks, but realistically it's just cleaning, buffing, putting a little bit of ATF, some touch-up paint on most of this stuff, and it looks really good. So, and once I do have this wiped on, I'll usually let it sit for about 20 or 30 minutes, and then I will go ahead and take another towel and wipe it back down so it's not all greasy and gross. But other than that, that's really about it. All right, and here is the moment of truth. I think we took about a $450 mower, and hopefully we've got it looking like about a $600 mower. Everything is cleaned up, looking really good on here. Paint shining. Honestly, the cosmetics make a huge deal, as much as people don't think that they do. I've had a lot of times where people just come over here and they nitpick no matter how much or how good the mower runs. It's unfortunate, but that's just kind of the way it is. Everybody wants something nice and shiny to show off to their neighbors. But overall, this thing turned out really good. The seat was in really good shape, and the paint overall was in good shape. A couple of those spots that we touched up. You guys can see the engine in here looks really good. Hoping that the sun is not blowing out the video here as far as being able to tell how nice it looks, but overall this turned out really, really good. We buffed it, put some ATF on it, cleaned up those plastics. I did end up just going over with the buffer too on the headlight lenses, and those turned out really well. I did not have that other silver piece, the silver insert on here, so I just took the other one out, and I did put some LED lights in here. But this is This is actually our part 4 of our $0 or free push mower to $2,000 challenge. So I wanted to basically make 2 videos out of one, but you guys can see it. That's pretty much it. That's how I do these mowers. You guys ask me all the time. I probably have at least 1 to 2 comments per video on how do I detail, and I hope this helps anybody else that's trying to resell or they just enjoy doing this kind of stuff. So as always, I really appreciate you guys tuning in and leaving the likes and the comments. I love hearing from you guys. The channel is growing and it's very exciting. So I've got lots of content coming up and some ideas for future videos. And thank you guys as always. So on that note, let freedom ring, let small engines sing. I'll see you all next time.